In the big town of Clamorville, everything was loud, so loud. The name Clamorville was perfect because clamor means a very loud, unpleasant noise. Every morning, the sun tried to wake up, but the town did not let it. Beep, beep, went the blue car. Rumble, rumble, went the big red truck. Chirp, chirp, went the birds, but they did not sound happy. They sounded stressed. In Clamorville lived a small, kind mouse named Mickey. Not that Mickey. This Mickey was a simple brown mouse with big, worried eyes. Mickey loved quiet. He loved the sound of a soft blanket or the gentle drip of water. But in Clamorville, quiet was a secret. Mickey's house was small. His neighbor, Mr. Growl, lived next door. Mr. Growl was a big, grumpy badger who loved to talk, talk, talk. He talked on the phone very loudly. "Yes, I said yes," Mr. Growl would shout every morning. Mickey tried to eat his cheese breakfast. Munch, munch. "Mickey, is that you eating so loud?" Mr. Growl would bang on the wall. "I am trying to hear my news report." Mickey did not answer. He just ate his cheese faster. The town square was the loudest place. People were always shouting their ideas. "Buy my red apples! They are the best apples!" shouted a farmer. "No, my blueberries are better! They are sweet!" shouted another person. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted to be heard. They talked over each other. They did not listen to each other. Mickey walked to the town market. He needed flour to bake a small cake. He saw a long line for the flour shop. "I need 5 bags," shouted a tall dog. "I need 10 bags for my big family," shouted a fat cat. Mickey waited. He waited for a long time. When it was his turn, he tried to speak. "Excuse me," Mickey whispered. "May I please have 1 small bag of flour?" The shopkeeper, a big bear, did not hear him. "What? Speak up, little mouse. The noise is too much." Mickey tried again, a little louder. "1 bag of flour, please." The bear frowned. "I cannot hear you. Say it louder or go away. We have no time for whispers." Mickey's eyes became watery. He felt small and sad. He needed flour, but the noise was a big, strong wall. He left the shop with no flour. The town of Clamorville was winning. The noise was winning. That evening, Mickey sat alone. He looked at the loud moon trying to shine through the noisy clouds. He wished for just 1 minute of peace. He wished people understood that sometimes the best message is not shouted, but felt. He wished they knew that a soft sound can go where a loud sound cannot. He sighed a very, very quiet sigh. The sigh was so small that even Mickey almost did not hear it. But in Clamorville, even a small sigh felt like a big, strange event, because nobody was used to quiet things. The noise kept going. Honk, bang, shout. Mickey decided he could not live like this anymore. He needed to find the quiet place he heard stories about, the place far from Clamorville. But first, he needed a plan, a quiet plan. Mickey the Mouse knew he must leave Clamorville. He packed his small bag. He put in 1 small piece of dry bread and 1 button for good luck. He looked at his noisy home. He felt sad, but he felt strong too. Mickey walked out of the loud town. He walked for 1 long day. He walked past the loud river. The river water made a splash, splash sound, but it was a nice sound. It was a natural sound. He walked until the sun was low in the sky. The sky became orange and pink. Then Mickey saw a small old forest. It looked different from the noisy town. It looked calm. Mickey walked into the forest. The first thing he noticed was the smell. It smelled like wet earth and old soft leaves. It smelled like peace. He walked slowly. He listened. Rustle, rustle went the leaves under his feet. Hoot, hoot went a very soft owl far away. There were no beeps. There were no shouts. Mickey felt his shoulders go down. He had been holding them up high because of the noise. He saw a small, warm light in the distance. He walked toward the light. There, sitting by a tiny, still pond, was a very old creature.
It was a wise tortoise named Old Shell. Old Shell was sitting perfectly still. He was not talking, he was not moving much. He was just being. Mickey stopped 10 feet away. He did not want to make a loud sound. He stood very still, too. He waited. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes passed, 3 minutes passed. In Clamorville, 3 minutes of silence would be a big, loud argument about who owned the silence. But here, it was just quiet. Mickey felt strange. He felt like he should say something important, like hello or I am lost. But he remembered his problem in the town. He decided to try something new. Mickey slowly, very slowly, took out the small button from his bag. He held it out. It was his only gift. He did not say a word. He just held the shiny button in the soft light of the setting sun. Old Shell, the wise tortoise, turned his head. It took him almost a full minute to turn his head. He looked at the button. He looked at Mickey. Old Shell did not speak. He just blinked his big, slow eyes. Then he gently moved one wrinkled old foot and tapped the ground once, very softly, right next to Mickey. It was a tiny tap. Mickey understood. The small tap was a welcome. It was a yes. It was a full conversation in just one tiny sound. Mickey smiled, a real smile for the first time in a long time. He sat down near the tortoise. He did not need to explain everything. He did not need to shout his story. The silence told Old Shell everything he needed to know. Old Shell's presence said, I hear you. You are safe here. Mickey stayed there until the moon was high. For the first time, he was not worried about being heard. He was happy about listening. He learned that listening is a quiet space you give to someone else.
The next morning, the sun woke Mickey up gently. Old Shell was still sitting by the pond. He looked like a big, smooth, brown rock. Mickey wanted to ask many questions. He wanted to ask, how do I go back to Clamorville? How can I make them quiet? What is the secret word for peace? But Mickey remembered the tap sound from the night before. He decided to wait. He decided to be quiet with Old Shell. Old Shell did not talk for a long time. He just looked at the water. The water was so clear. Mickey could see small silver fish swimming down deep. Mickey looked at the water too. He looked for a long time. He watched how the light moved on the surface. He watched a small leaf float slowly by. Because he was quiet, he started to see things he did not see before. He saw a tiny flower growing in the rock near his foot. It was bright yellow. It was beautiful. If he had been talking, he would have missed the flower. Then Old Shell moved his head slightly. This was a big move for Old Shell. He pointed one old claw toward a small, dark cloud far in the sky. Mickey looked. It was just a small cloud. Old Shell slowly closed his eyes. He did not speak. Mickey thought, why did he show me the cloud? Clouds are normal. Mickey kept looking. He waited. He stayed quiet for maybe 10 more minutes. Then he felt it. The air became cold. The sky quickly turned dark gray. Whoosh! A strong wind came. The wind was not a gentle breeze. It was a fast, hard wind. If Old Shell had shouted, "Look out! A storm is coming!" Mickey would have been scared. He would have run and hid under a big root. He would have missed the power of the storm arriving. But because Old Shell used only one small movement, pointing, and then silence, Mickey watched the whole thing happen. He felt the change in the air before the strong sound of the wind. He was ready. He was calm. When the big wind passed, the world was fresh and clean. Old Shell opened his eyes. He looked at Mickey. He made a very soft sound. It was like sand falling onto wood. Shh. Mickey understood the lesson. He did not need 1,000 words. The flower,
He needed quiet to see the small beauty. The storm, he needed quiet to feel the coming danger and be ready. Silence was not empty. Silence was full of things you could only notice when you stopped making noise yourself. Silence was the space for the real message to arrive. Mickey felt a new energy. He was not leaving Clamorville to escape noise. He was going back to bring the quiet. He would not shout. He would show them how to see the yellow flower and feel the coming wind. He stood up. He nodded to Old Shell. He did not say thank you. He just looked at the tortoise with deep respect. Old Shell gave one slow, final blink. It was the best goodbye Mickey had ever received. Mickey turned around. He walked back toward the place where the loud noises lived, but now his heart was full of quiet strength.
Mickey returned to Clamorville. The noise hit him like a hard wall. Honk, crash, yell. The noise was even louder than before. He walked to his small house. His neighbor, Mr. Growl the badger, was outside, yelling at a small bird that sat on a wire. "Go away! This is my wire! I said go away!" Mr. Growl roared. The bird just sat there, looking bored. Mickey did not shout back. He did not even whisper. He just walked to the center of the noisy market square. He stood there. The dogs kept barking. The car horns kept blaring. People were still pushing and shouting over each other. Mickey closed his eyes. He remembered the calm pond. He remembered the smell of the wet earth. He felt the gentle tap from Old Shell. Then Mickey did the bravest thing he had ever done. He did nothing. He stood still. He did not move his arms. He did not smile. He did not frown. He just stood. He became a small, quiet rock in the middle of the loud river of noise. At first, no one noticed. Beep, beep, went a truck right next to him. But after a few moments, something strange happened. The noise did not stop, but it started to change. The truck driver saw Mickey standing there, perfectly still, with his eyes closed. The driver was about to shout, "Move, little mouse!" But he stopped. He looked at the mouse, and then he looked at his own hands on the steering wheel. Why was he honking so loudly? His own face felt red and hot. He turned off his horn. Silence. Just for 1 second. A woman who was yelling about the price of apples looked up. She saw Mickey standing calmly. She looked at the angry vendor, Mr. Bear, the shopkeeper from Part 1. She looked at the vendor's face, tight with shouting. She thought, I don't need to shout that loud. The price is the price. She took a breath. Silence. Mr. Growl, the badger, was still yelling at the bird. I said, go. Mickey slowly opened his eyes and looked at Mr. Growl. He did not say, be quiet. He did not say, stop yelling. Mickey simply looked at the badger. His look was not angry. It was not sad. It was the look of someone who was listening very, very carefully to something important. It was the look he got from Old Shell. Mr. Growl stopped yelling mid-word. He felt the weight of Mickey's quiet gaze. He looked at the bird. The bird was still sitting there. The badger realized, I have been shouting for 5 minutes and the bird has not moved. Maybe my words have no power. Mr. Growl took a big, shaky breath. He did not know what to do next. He looked at Mickey, who offered no word, only a gentle space to listen. Mr. Growl tried to speak, but only a small, quiet sound came out. It was not a roar. It was a sound like the first soft rain on dry dirt. The bird looked at Mr. Growl. The bird then flapped its wings once, softly, and flew away. The market square was quiet. Not totally silent, but the fighting noise was gone. People were looking around. They were blinking. They were hearing the sounds they usually missed, the rustle of leaves from a nearby park, the gentle sound of a fountain.
Mickey had not spoken a word, but his simple, powerful stillness had done what 1,000 angry shouts could never do. He had created a space, and in that space, the people of Clammerville finally heard themselves. Mickey smiled, a true, quiet smile. He walked to the bakery and whispered, "1 small bag of flour, please." The baker heard him perfectly.